Hey, what's up everybody? It's Rutek. Today we'll be talking about the best $700 upgradable gaming PC that you can build for May of 2021. So hey, I've said it a million times this year, I'll say it a million times more. Graphics card prices, crazy. You ain't building a PC this year with a strong graphics card unless your budget is like $1,000 or above, but you can build a PC that will be all set up and ready to go for when you are finally able to get a hold of one. But this PC can do that and some. Let me tell you guys about it, but first, let's talk about Lustre. So in this video, I'm giving my own parts selections for a specific price range, but perhaps you have a different smaller or bigger budget, or you're looking for something with different specific features and want a more personalized recommendation from a highly trustworthy source. Well, there's this new and upcoming free shopping tool called Lustre. It's a free Chrome extension that gives you exactly that. Not only does it find and analyze trusted expert reviews, but it also brings up discussion forums mentioning products, like on Reddit or video reviews on YouTube. Let me give you guys a little demo. So I'm looking for the best CPU for around $500, so it gives me the top 5 CPUs for that exact price range. And it backs up exactly why they're the top 5 with tons of info and data. Let's take a look at what they tell me about the i9-10900K. It compares a bunch of 1 to 10 scores from multiple trustworthy websites, such as PC Mag, PC Gamer, Windows Central, Tom's Hardware, etc. And then right below that, it shows me all the tech specs, which I really like. The point is, you're going to be saving a lot of time and money using Lustre. Link to get Lustre is in my description. So with this $700 PC, yeah, it's made to be upgraded, but it also has a CPU with an iGPU that can handle games pretty well. And I'm not talking about super light games. This integrated GPU can actually do things like play GTA 5 at normal settings in 1080p and maintain a consistent 60 frames per second. Yeah, GTA 5 isn't exactly a very low demanding game, and a similar deal with games like Overwatch, Valorant, CSGO, League. You can play them in 1080p at 60 and above frames on average. Now, with slightly more demanding titles like Apex Legends, since it's a battle royale, it'll only be able to run at a good 60 or above frames when you drop it down to 720p. Either way though, if you want to be able to build a PC and game right now with a $700 budget, this PC is for you. Keep in mind the full parts list with links is in the description below. So first, let me tell you more about the central processor. The CPU I chose out is the Ryzen 5 3400G. Now yes, this does seem like it's a 3rd gen processor because of its name, but it's not. It runs on the Zen Plus architecture, meaning 12 nanometer transistors. It has 4 cores, 8 threads, a base clock of 3.7 gigahertz, a boost clock of 4.2, has hyperthreading, and supports overclocking. As for its internal GPU, it's using AMD's Vega 11 graphics. Now, if you've never really dealt with or paid attention to iGPUs, you're probably not too sure where the Vega 11 processors stand in terms of performance, so let me try to simplify it. Vega 11 is very close to the RX 550 in terms of gaming performance, which you can certainly check out on your own. Just look up some benchmark comparison videos comparing the RX 550 with Vega 11 graphics in gaming. Anyway, when it comes to CPU performance, nothing amazing, but it's certainly not bad at all. You'll get by with this CPU and likely won't have any complaints if you're primarily gaming and doing light work like web browsing and perhaps school and work related tasks. As for GPU performance, like I said, all lower demanding titles will most likely be able to run in 1080p, and the other stuff will definitely need to drop to 720p and the low graphics settings. Now let me tell you about the motherboard. The best option for this build is the MSI B450M Bazooka Max Wi-Fi board. This motherboard is great not only because it has great overclocking support, good BIOS, both RGB and ARGB compatibility, and comes from good old MSI, but it also has built-in Wi-Fi, which I know a lot of you guys are really a fan of, as running Ethernet or getting a half-decent Wi-Fi extender is not what you're really trying to do. It also has 4 RAM slots, which is great to see for a micro ATX board in this price range, and gives you the ability to upgrade your RAM pretty easily. It has Bluetooth and Wi-Fi 5 support, not Wi-Fi 6, but that really isn't a bad thing unless you have ultra lightning fast Wi-Fi speeds. Also has a pretty standard I/O, a bunch of USB 2.0 and 3.0s, Ethernet, HDMI, stuff we've seen before a million times. Now for the RAM, the best option looks to be the Team T-Force Vulcan Z 16GB, so 2 6 of 8GB, DDR4 3000 MHz CL16 RAM. I've used this set of RAM many times. At one point, it actually was in my own personal rig. It's phenomenal. Sure, no RGB, but that's not exactly what I was shooting for with this build. 16 gigabytes, as most of you know, is more than enough for modern applications and tasks, and you won't need any more than that for a while. But if and when the time comes, keep in mind that the motherboard has 4 RAM slots, so you won't have to buy a completely new kit. Speed of this RAM is 3000 megahertz, which is perfect for the CPU we selected. Anything above that wouldn't give the biggest performance difference. And lastly, cast latency of 16, pretty typical for a RAM kit in this price range. Anything higher would give an undesirable performance loss, and anything lower would cost a ton more. So yeah, the T-Force Vulcan Z kit, never had issues with it. Very solid stuff. And hey, before I move on, I just want to let you guys know I have a second channel, Rue Builds, where I'm eventually going to migrate all of these types of build parts list oriented videos to. So if you want to stay in the loop about what the best build is for specific prices, be sure to go and sub. Link is in the description below. Next part I want to talk about is the storage. I picked out the Crucial P2 1TB M2 NVMe SSD. Now, if you've been watching my videos for a while, you probably noticed that I almost always choose a Crucial P2 M2 SSD for my builds. It's seriously the best priced storage, has some really great speeds, and is highly reliable. And of course, it comes from Crucial. They've always had some really great devices when it comes to solid state storage. And now the case. Since this PC is rocking a micro ATX motherboard, it only makes sense to pair it with a nice micro ATX case. So I chose the Dark Flash DLM21. I used this in one of my previous builds, and boy is it good looking. This case has a mesh front, so airflow is going to be great. Your PC will stay cool whether you have upgraded it with a graphics card or not. This case is also really beginner friendly. The tempered glass side panel swings out like a door and can easily be removed off of its hinges. There's a lot of room for cable management and many loops for fastening up your cables. Long story short, whether you're a beginner or have built PCs before, this case makes things pretty easy and comfortable for when you're building, and it's a very nice looking case. Now let me tell you about the power supply. The best option at the moment is the EVGA BR 500 watt 80 plus bronze certified power supply, and let me tell you why. 500 watts of 80 plus bronze power is more than enough for this build, as a good chunk of you know, but when it comes to upgrading, you'll have all that power ready to be used. So say you upgrade the CPU to a 2nd or 3rd gen Ryzen 7, put in say a 3060, well, you're not going to have any issues with power. This EVGA supply is ready for that. EVGA's BR line is known to be very reliable, and with power supplies, you certainly don't want to mess around with which one you select. Lastly, the fans. Since the case doesn't come with any included, of course I went ahead and added a set of RGB fans to the mix. I chose the Deepcool RF 120M 120mm 5-pack of fans. These are nice and bright, give you some vivid colors, nice and quiet sounding too. I've used RF 120s and I'd say about 3 or 4 builds now. These fans are pretty silent. As for RPMs, these fans can hit from 500 to 1500 RPM. Also, this particular set comes with 2 fan hubs, which is perfect because the motherboard in this build only has 2 system fan headers. And yeah, that's all the parts for this build. Not only will it be able to game upon completion, but it has extreme potential for upgrading. Like I said earlier, all links for the parts in this PC are in the description. If you enjoy the video, drop a like. Have any comments or questions, drop a comment below. And if you enjoy the content that you're seeing, drop a sub. And hey, if you plan on building this or have built it, let us know in the comment section below, as I am sure the community would love to hear about it. Thanks for watching. Peace out.